Hello, my name is Ivan, and I've got a lot of different interests. And today I sort of wanted to talk about my interest in sourdough bread and what I'm kind of working on right now, like my current project. I have been trying to work towards drying my starter out so that I can send it to distant places. And I wanted to first, before doing that, attempt to take some of this dry starter that I've made and, well, mortar and pestle it and see if I can make some bread out of it. Just rehydrate it and go from there. And I thought, you know what, this would also be a really cool way to sort of just step by step go through the process of making a loaf of sourdough bread with some starter. And I was hoping to take you on the journey with me. Let's get started. So here's the dry starter. What I ended up doing was I was taking my starter right out of the fridge and I was spreading it kind of like just thinly on some parchment paper. And I let this dry out for about 2 days, about 2 full days. It looks like it's still a little wet or like yellow. It should be more white. At least that's what, you know, folks at home are saying. But I think that this is still great starter, but we won't know for sure until we grind this all down to some powder or just, you know, some very rough flakes, and we try to rehydrate it. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this all over to a mortar and pestle and grind it all up, and we'll weigh how much we have, because I sort of eyeballed, just kind of spread it all over a sheet of wax paper. So let's go see how much we have. Oh my gosh, there we go. All right, and then we just get to, you know, mortar and pestle again. I'm not trying to turn this into a paste. I mean, it's pretty dry, so it's not like it's going to get there. But I really just want to grind this up because the whole idea is we're going to be sending this to folks. Whoa! All right, so I got to be careful. It's kind of explosive. Oh, yeah. To be honest, it doesn't have to be that fine of a powder or ground that much. It just has to be broken down enough to fit in a bag. Boop, little measuring cup. All right, so that guy, let's just zero him out, boom. All right, and now I'm gonna try and very carefully get this stuff into our cup here. Let's see how much we have. We're looking for minimum 100. Wow, you will not believe it. That is actually crazy. I can't believe it that we got 100 exact. Wow, okay, that's, you know what? Things are looking up, things are looking up. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to take a little bit of that and try to make our brand new colony, just liven it back up. I have this tub, which we're gonna use for trying to make the loaf. I've got this little mason jar, which we're gonna use to try and create a new colony, wet starter. I don't know what else you wanna really call it here. Got some water, and we've got some flour. This is the King Arthur's unbleached all-purpose flour, and then over here we just got some restaurant flour. I think what we're gonna do is a 50-50-50. So I have 50 milliliters of water, 50 grams of, you know, dry starter, and we're gonna use 50 grams of this all-purpose unbleached flour. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna add the dry starter. So let's just get about, like I said, 50 in here. Should be a very good amount to start with. So now we're gonna add the water. Oh yeah, so we're not gonna worry too much just yet about putting some flour in there. I'm gonna just mix this up a little, see if I can get some of it rehydrated just a little bit. All right, it's looking kind of milky, so that's kind of good. There's some fresh food for these guys. Like I said, I'm aiming for like a 50 to 50-50 thing. And there we go. Let's see if this will turn into starter for us. So it's rather pasty, and I think what I would like to do is maybe add just a little bit more water. And this is a lot of trial and error right here. But in my opinion, it's a little too tough. And I think it makes kind of sense. I mean, all the water sort of left the starter. So I'm gonna add just another 50 milliliters, I think. 100 milliliters of water, 50 grams of flour, and 50 grams of the starter that I've dried up. So let's see if this makes a better consistency. So far, I'm liking this a lot more. Might be a little bit too watery, but we can balance that out by adding a little more flour. I think next time I'm gonna go with a little less water. So let's add about 25 grams of flour just to balance that out. Just to give it a little bit of that right consistency, that right hydration. And if this works out, I'll be so happy. And I'll try to really get the ratios down. So for future customers, future starter enthusiasts, sourdough enthusiasts, when they get, you know, something like 100 grams in the mail, they'll be able to turn this into an active colony that they can use to make their own bread and stuff. I think that's really good. Oh, can't really see it so well. It's pretty good. Sort of viscous, but not totally. Take this off. Yeah, it's really feeling a lot like it should be now. Then we're gonna grab a rubber band. I'm gonna really quick make sure all the stuff on the side walls here is as down as possible, so it's not just clinging. Now we'll know if this worked if we see this little red rubber band. See, it's gonna mark the line. So if it climbs above this, we'll know it's active and it's doing its thing. So we're just gonna cap that and put it away, and we're gonna move on to making the actual loaf using the rest of our dry starter. So we're going to be mixing this by hand, something I haven't done in a while, I'll be honest. I've always sort of just used this big mixer on the left here, but mixing by hand is a lot of fun. Like I said, we have maybe about 50 grams left, so we're just gonna make sure and measure. That's just starter waiting to wake up. Typically, how the ratio for making some sourdough bread goes is I add about 100 wet starter, then I go about 500 grams of flour and about 300 milliliters of water. And to me, that makes the right consistency that I'm looking for. But since we are using dry starter, you know, that water isn't there anymore. So I am, you know, about 350 milliliters of water is in this cup. And I'm gonna go ahead and add that. Then we'll add the flour, but first we need to just kind of mix this up. We gotta get the starter, the dry starter, a little bit hydrated. Now I'm not using warm water, although I should. That is okay. We're going to now throw in 500 grams of flour. And I am praying that this works out and that we get bread at the end of this road. All right, so there we go. We have our whole mix here. And I'm just gonna get to work. It's time to add some elbow grease into this whole thing. Very important ingredient. And I'll come back once this is all mixed up. It might be time to put this on the counter and knead it by hand for a little bit. Whoop. So there's it. There's this. This is gonna be a loaf of bread. Wow, that's crazy. But I'm really happy to be sharing this hobby with you guys. This, you know, it's a lot of fun working with bread, working with dough, being a baker. There's so many different ways that you can bake a loaf, bake some dough. Some of my favorite recipes are the English muffins that I make, or the bagels. Those are really fun to try. Okay, now before we continue, let me get a little bit of salt in this guy. Just about 7 grams or so. Very good, very good, very good. I feel like the salt, for some reason, helps the consistency a little bit. Don't know why that is, don't know what happens, but I like throwing some salt in there. And I will come back every 30 minutes to check up on this guy. He could be mixed a little better, but that is the beauty of by hand. So we're gonna let this just chill about a half hour, maybe even an hour. I'll come back, knead it again. Do that maybe another 2 times. Then we're gonna let this sit for 8 hours on the counter in the bucket. Cold fermented for about another 8 hours, and tomorrow we'll bake it. All right, so I washed my hands and I'm over here back by the other counter. Wanted to just take a quick look. I mean, it's only been 5-10 minutes since we've done this, okay? There are some good signs. You know what? I gotta angle the camera down a little bit. 1 second. All right, check this out. So I'm gonna fix the focus as well. Hang on, bear with me. Come on. Oh, so close. Okay, maybe you guys can see it though. There's a bubble. Now the bubbles is a good sign. That means somebody's eating. And if somebody's eating, that means they're alive. So we won't know for sure until this Whole thing is, you know, given many, many hours. The beautiful thing about getting into some sourdough is that there's a lot of downtime. You know, I'm not just constantly in the kitchen. It's honestly just a lot of work when there are many loaves to make, then I'm just working with more dough and, you know, more dough, more time. But overall, there are these patches, these little spaces, gaps in between each of the steps that gives me time to just relax a little bit, go do something else. And especially when we get around to just letting it sit on the counter for 8 hours, I mean, I don't have to touch this thing in 8 hours. Then when the time comes, I put it in the fridge for another 8 hours, wake up, take it out of the fridge, form it into the boutons that I have, and then we bake it in a little bit. So I'm really excited to share that process, and we'll get back to it tomorrow. All right. All right, so the day that I made all that starter and the dough, I went to bed really late last night, but I did put away the starter and the dough in the fridge. When I got around to seeing how much they grew, I was thoroughly impressed. And it's dropped a little bit, believe it or not, but this is the starter that we worked on yesterday. The dry starter that I had put into this cup, into this jar, with some water, with some flour, mixed it up, and tried to make like a fresh colony to just live and be there for me, to be fed, grow. I can take from it, make bread with it, feed it, regrow it, you know. So this is just like a little counter pet now, refrigerator pet. This is where I had the rubber band. And I kid you not, this thing was touching the top of the coffee filter here. And so when I put it in the fridge and woke up this morning, went to go take a look at it, it dropped a little bit, as you might be able to see. Just a little bit here, it dropped. But this is starter. It smells so good too. Kind of looks like a jar of like homemade mayo, but yeah, there you go. Look at that. So I'm really happy that the dry starter worked in the way that it did. Now I just got to perfect, I guess, the ratios of water and flour and things like that. But essentially, we're going to be able to ship starter to people, and people will be able to make something like this for themselves. And bread is at the whim, at the ready. All right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just settle into my day a little bit, and later I'll get back into the kitchen and I'll show you how the loaf of bread came out. I did bring it upstairs. It's thawing up on the counter, room temp, because it was in the fridge all night. And we're going to try and bake a loaf out of it today. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited to cut it up and enjoy it in front of all of you.